Okay, we're gonna do it this way. I'm trying some new things, and something I'm doing is waking up without my phone, even though I am recording on my phone currently. I did wake up without it and journal instead. This little journal I got at the thrift store. I think it was like 50 cents. And Staffing Solutions. I've been justifying TikTok because of how funny and creative people are, and I'm afraid I won't laugh again. I'll lose my connection to the world at large, which I love the feeling of. Sometimes I even watch long form content and it doesn't seem to quell my anxiety. There are so many things not meant for us that the modern world is selling to us. I want to feel joy, but I feel muted. I want to feel free of judgment, but I'm constantly scanning my environment for approval. I like being outside. Certain movies help me to feel again, and this is something that I've been thinking about. I watched the recent Avatar movie, and as beautiful as it was cinematically, something that really caught my attention was just the feeling of, they perfectly captured the feeling of movement and connection to nature and being outside. And I remember when I started running when I first got sober, and I would go trail running in Austin, where I'm from originally, and I wouldn't bring my phone sometimes. I would just run. I had a watch, so I knew what time it was. And I knew the trails really well. And I would just walk when I felt like walking, and I would run when I felt like running. And I would go for 8 miles just running through the woods, and I would feel the sun on my face and the dappled light. I don't think I had ever felt that. Maybe really I remember it as a kid. When I think about the most joyful moments of my life and the ones that are without pressure, right? I loved having my car. My dad drove the car into the driveway when I was 16. There was a lot of joy there. There was also a lot of pressure that came with it. But joy without pressure, if I think about pure joy, it's more like when I was a little kid and I was running around catching fireflies in a jar. It was 4 fireflies. Anyway, but there was just this feeling of play or going to the creek and catching tadpoles and just like discovery. There was no connection to time really. It was just, just following all those little impulses within. And I was able to hear them. I grew up without social media or the internet. I'm almost 43. And there's like a part of me that longs for that. Now, don't get me wrong, I still, as a kid, had a lot of comparison to others and I felt a lot of anxiety, but there were times that I didn't. And it was when I was playing with my cousins or some of my friends in the neighborhood, and I would just be out running. So I was thinking about the movie Avatar when I was thinking about this morning, sort of connection to myself that I'm really trying to recultivate. I really think my purpose is to have fun. I know some people's purpose is to be an engineer or to be a political leader or to be a lawyer or a doctor. I think some of us have a different purpose and it's equally as important. And I have to tell myself that because I've been indoctrinated and programmed to believe that being a joyful content creator is just like not that important, but it is. At least to me, it is. And nobody's going to get me. That's another thing is like when I attune to the outside world, it's just nobody's going to get me. My cat is here. Yesterday, I curled my hair and it felt really good. And my hair does not hold a curl, so I just did a little bit. And I don't force things anymore. I just did a little so that it wasn't slept on. And it felt really good. But then I thought, what feels really good is when it's all wavy, when it comes out of the ocean. It's winter right now, and we're having one of the colder winters in Hawaii since I've been here. And so it's a time for rest and renewal, and that's okay. But I am very excited to get back into the ocean on a warm, sunny day. So I wanted to talk today. I talk about minimalism and I talk about frugality, joy, and inner purpose and getting rid of your stuff so you don't have to take care of stuff you don't want to take care of. I do probably still have too much stuff. Recently discovered my place is just too big. I pay too much money for it. But that's okay. Money comes and money goes, and it is all part of the ocean of life. I think my partner and I have discussed practically we're going to ask for a discount, but if not, we'll move. And that's okay too. I talk a lot about saving money on this channel and doing the things that make you happy. And for me, that is not working more. I was looking at jobs yesterday and there was not a single one that I thought, man, I want to go do this. And really what I'm qualified for is, I was a social worker. I was a trauma therapist. So yeah, I could work in HR. Yeah, I could be a barista. Yeah, I could be an administrative assistant somewhere or work in bookkeeping or all of those things. But anything that forces this wild child to be in a corporate environment. Remember, I mentioned Avatar and Spirit and Fern Gully. I just think, yeah, I'm not meant to be indoors. I remember in my undergrad internship at a treatment center, it was an outpatient treatment center, and I was an intern therapist. And I remember asking the doctor who owned the place, I said, hey, can I take the clients outside? There's a little pond in the back of this office building complex, and there were some ducks out there. I said, do you think I could take a group outside to where we could just like ground and be in the sun? And like, I want to do a grounding group out there and sit in the sun and talk instead of be inside in this fluorescent lighting. And he was, we don't do that here. What do you mean we don't do that here? And there was just this mentality that happiness, joy, and hard work could not go hand in hand. And if you were joyful at work, well, you obviously weren't working hard enough. And there was just this aversion to joy at work. I remember thinking, where am I? What the hell is going on here? And these were people trying to get sober. And I gently said to him, I said, sir, you know, if we're not showing them that life is worth living sober, it won't work. It will not work. And him just saying, well, they can do that outside of here. Yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, 9 to 5 till we're 65 because we're all doing stuff we don't want to do. We're all doing stuff we're not meant to do. Some of us are doing stuff we're meant to do. I can't say all of us, but I knew from when I read the book Your Money, Your Life in 2008 that I wanted to retire early, and I was determined. And thank God, you know, we did start that business and we were very successful because now I was able to manifest that life. However, I did so much against my will at work, and I did a lot of just showing up, suiting up and showing up and grinding it out for this little spirit. I mean, almost, I can't do it. I can't. I can't. I have to be free. So I'm going to talk a little bit about something really weird for a minute. When I got sober, you know, we talked about higher power and you got to reinvent this power greater than you so that you can get sober because alcohol and drugs were more powerful. So you have to like replace it with something positive. I'm almost 19 years sober and I replaced my higher power about 5 years ago with this light being that I've invented or whatever, true or not true, it doesn't matter. But I was in meditation and I just imagined, you know, like the little bathroom guy sign. It was like that guy. It's like just like the circle head and the body. It was like light being. He didn't say anything. I imagined I was sitting on this park bench at the top of a hill overlooking the ocean somewhere in Hawaii on a trail, and it's just me and the sunset. And he comes over and he sits down next to me, and we just hang out. We don't really talk. I mean, I talk. He doesn't really talk. He's just chill. He just sits there, holds space. I named him Big Joe because he's bigger than me. He's always encouraging. He's always there, soothing, gentle, no rush, just enjoying the moment. And, you know, in the last 6 months, I haven't really been hanging out with him very much. And yesterday it came to me when I was watching long form content and I was still feeling anxiety because I've taken TikTok off my phone. I'm really trying to get out of the addictive loop of social media. And I'm sitting there in a meeting last night and I'm just, man, I have not spent time with Big Joe. I've been really calibrating to like everyone around me and I was trying to make content yesterday and it just wasn't working. And I was like feeling jealous of the people who can just talk freely on here and they're so engaging because they have this light, they have this joy that's like you want to be around that. I love the weird theater kids. I love that because really what they've done as adults is they have not lost their childish joy. And a lot of people are, oh, weird. I'm like, hell yeah, come over here and hang out with me because I so easily mask as being cool, and which is surprising to a lot of people, I'm sure, myself included. But I say that because when I was growing up, it was like the most important thing to me was to be validated, to be cool, to be popular. And I really want to get rid of that. I can't make content around my partner, my boyfriend, who I love, who knows me the most. If he's here, I won't be doing this because that would be to be known fully. I'm sure he He's watched a few of my videos sometimes, and he always says, oh, I love them, they're so good. And I'm always like, oh, no. Yeah. I want to be totally okay being weird. I want to not even notice that someone else thinks I'm looking weird. I used to have these impulsive thoughts on the bus when I was in college, going to class. Everyone would just sit there quiet with their headphones on, and there'd be music on the bus, and I'd have these impulsive thoughts to just start jamming out on the bus and be like, "Come on, guys, this is what life's about." I never did it, but I wanted to real bad. People always joke like, "Oh, those are just your intrusive thoughts. Don't let them win." And I'm like, no, I think that those are the ones that should be winning. I think that me sitting on the bus going to a class and paying 100 grand for a degree I don't even use, maybe that's the weird thing. Maybe I should have gotten off that bus, gone down to the river, hopped in, and felt the water rush over my face. Yeah, I'm going to cry because that's what life is for me. That's what I want to do in this life. I just want to experience it. I don't want to go to a job, especially one that I hate. I did the calculations finally on my early retirement, and I did use a chatbot, but it was helpful. There are uses for AI. And, I was punching in the numbers. I said, okay, this is what I have. This is the value of my property. This is my equity. This is what it's probably going to rent for, short-term rent versus long-term rent. Do I need to get another property? If I wanted to buy a house in Hawaii, how much should I buy it for? How much do I need to rent it out for? What's my monthly burn rate? Plugged all that in. And basically, right now I'm living off of a certain amount, which is a good amount. And if I save and live off of 50 to 75% of that, then I'm good. I'll be basically making about $5,500 a month for the rest of my life. And that's not a lot, especially in this day and age. But is it enough? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Especially for me, my favorite, most joyful thing is to jump in the ocean, to do free stuff. Silence has been hard for me for the last 6 months. Getting my rental property in Florida up and running and feeling a lot of fear and anxiety over my retirement and fear of going back to work. Fear of not getting to do this. Fear of losing things. Sometimes I have to go to zero and remember that I'm going to be all right. It's all going to be all right. Even if I did have to go back. I loved working at coffee shops. There were some of my favorite jobs. It was like, worked at this Italian bistro when I first got sober and making cookies and coffee and just morning through the lunch shift. I never worked the evening shift, even though you make more money in the evening. I've always been a morning person. It's 4:30 in the morning here in Hawaii. I like getting up early. Always have. I never could stay up at a sleepover when I was a kid. I hated sleepovers, loathed them. It's nice to get invited, but not for me. Yeah, sitting in silence has been rough, and I think that's been my big pull towards getting off social media and switching more to long form content. And I will watch plenty of YouTube today. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's all day, every day. I've got some YouTube channel playing or spiritual talk or something, and I'm just taking little moments of silence right now. I don't have to dive in head first. I've told myself a story that I'm afraid to be alone in silence, that I need constant input, and that's just simply not true. And so I'm changing that story. And I think for me, the start was, getting off TikTok. I don't like reels on Instagram or Facebook. I don't like shorts on YouTube. So far, that hasn't been an issue. I'm doing the long form content right now on YouTube. And yes, it's constant. And no, it's not quelling the anxiety. But what I can tell you is that it does give me enough space for some thought to come in that's a little bit original. And it's allowed me to make this video this morning. And I've been not watching my phone to go to sleep in the evenings, which I normally have been doing. I will allow myself, if I can't fall asleep, I have sleep headphones to listen to a spiritual talk or to sleep sounds. I just concentrate on that, and that is soothing to me. I'm not forcing and I'm not berating myself for not being perfect. And no, I cannot read a book to save my life. And I used to love reading. I'd like to really get back to that. So that's my goal. The things that I consume on YouTube are minimalism, frugality, investing, slow living, cinematography, Anybody who lives in the English countryside you got my attention. I love her 86 square meters. I love the cottage fairy. I love Sev, I think is his name. Tim, he walks and talks. He's absolutely my favorite human right now, other than my boyfriend. Don't tell him that. And then I just watch Gabe Bolt, Matt Diavella, of course, the minimalists. I used to watch them all the time. I watch them less now. Sorry, guys, I'm not a big fan of that weird podcast y'all do in a black room with the microphones. It feels too curated. I like a walk and talk. I really enjoy a walk and talk these days. And some people will focus and some people won't. But I often don't see content about the spiritual development of minimalism and what the internal shifts that are happening. It's not just the stuff. Yes, getting rid of your stuff will free you. When you stop taking care of stuff all the time and you free up your space and your living space and your mental space, you make room and things will start to come in. Ideas and life. It's not always just some beautiful, easy picture of how, it doesn't just happen like, woo, this is so great. There's a lot of, for me, just like some fear and some confusion and a lot of mental fog and what is my purpose? And okay, now what do I do with this void or this vacuum that's been created? I'm trying to fill it with creating content for people like me. If you like content like this, please like and subscribe. I have like 200 followers right now. So yeah, anyway, thanks for being here. I appreciate you.